Welcome to MTN Football Webcast. I'm your host, Brian Lee. In today's segment, we'll be talking about the 2013 African Cup of Nations. And to discuss matters with me, I have Neil Greig via correspondence in Durban, where he'll be based for the tournament. Neil, let's get things underway and let's separate it into the four groups first up. Group A, South Africa, Morocco, Cape Verde and Angola. South Africa, host nation, a lot of pressure to qualify. Can they do it? And who will be the team to qualify alongside them, if so?
Well, firstly, Brian, I think South Africa do have a lot of pressure on them to qualify out of Group A as tournament hosts. But I think that they're up against it, and it's not the easy group that many people think it will be. And my feeling is that the two teams to qualify out of the Group A will be Morocco and Angola, and the two teams that will miss out will be South Africa and the Cape Verde Islands.
Certainly, Neil, there's a lot of pressure on Bafana to match the class of 1996. But moving on to Group B now, Ghana, certainly the favourites coming out of that group, but up against the likes of Mali, the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as Nigeria. Who do you see progressing from this group alongside Ghana?
Well, in Group B, I do see Ghana as being the favourites, but also Mali, who I think are one of the underdogs across the whole tournament, with some really top players like Sissoko and Seydou Keita and Cedric Kante and some many experienced players at club level, but also on the international stage. So I would feel that DRC, the Congo, would also have a really good tournament and would be a rank outsider. But I think that Ghana and Mali would be too strong in this group.
Ghana, definitely one of the form teams coming into the tournament and one of the teams to beat. But moving on to Group C now, Neil, Zambia, the defending champions. Can they defend their title? Moreover, can they get out of their group up against Nigeria, Burkina Faso and Ethiopia? How do you see this one playing out?
Your first question, Brian, can Zambia defend their title? I think they can, especially because their squad has stayed together for so many years and they have a wonderful team unity and cohesion and understanding of one another and a great team spirit as well, which we saw just a year ago. The question of defending their title, though, against so many quality teams, I wonder if they'll have what it takes to win it twice in a row, especially with an Ivory Coast side aging and probably at their final tournament together as a group, and they'll be out to win it, Didier Drogba and company. So Zambia will qualify into the knockout stage along with Nigeria from Group C, but I think winning the title again will be one step too far.
Moving on to Group D, Neil, the so-called Group of Death, with three former champions in this group in Cote d'Ivoire, Tunisia and Algeria. And of course, Togo only ever made it past the first round. Tell me, how do you see this group playing out, considering Ivory Coast are the obvious favourites to top the group?
In Group D, I agree that Ivory Coast are the favourites. I think they'll go on to the knockout phase without too many problems. I think the battle between Algeria and Tunisia will be very interesting, as well as Togo, who we know are a team with talent, with Adebayo up front in attack for them. But I think Togo, given all the problems they're having behind the scenes and with the federation and Adebayo himself, I don't see them as a team putting it together in the tournament. So the question is, who wants it more between Tunisia and Algeria? And I'd like to believe Algeria sneak through along with Ivory Coast.
Moving past the group stages, Neil, and into the knockout stages of the competition, the business end, who do you see as the favourites to go all the way and possibly lift this 2013 African Cup of Nations title? And who do you also see as the dark horses, someone who caused a couple of upsets?
I've said for a while now that I think this is the time for Ivory Coast and their golden generation of players to lift the title. So they would be my favourites right now as it stands. And I think the teams that will push them closest for the title will be Ghana, Zambia, and as well as a surprise choice in some people's eyes, but not in mine, and that would be Mali, who I still say are a dark horse to keep an eye on in the tournament. And another team that I think is worth keeping an eye on is Angola, as well as Algeria.
I think in conclusion, Neil, we can definitely come to the assumption that Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire are the two teams to beat, the two informed teams coming into this tournament and the two favourites to go all the way. But being on home soil, you can never write off Bafana as they try to match the class of 96.